Hi everyone, my name is Noonan and this is my presentation for EDN509 Inclusive Education, Assignment 2B. The learning difficulty I've chosen to describe in this presentation and in the poster is dyscalculia, which is a persistent neurological disorder characterized by difficulty in processing, understanding, and remembering mathematical concepts. In my recent practical placements, I had students with dyscalculia and dyslexia. In fact, they actually made up around about half of the learning group in the classroom that I was working in. So it is reasonable to expect that new teachers are going to encounter students with this particular learning difficulty, if not in combination with dyslexia, perhaps by itself. I've used some mathematical symbolism here to illustrate how the three different groups can work together. There are three circles showing the teacher, the student with dyscalculia, and the other students in the classroom, all interacting with each other as demonstrated by the overlap of the different circles. There's a fourth circle wrapping around the outside, which is meant to represent the community or the outside world from the classroom, and the influence that has on what goes on inside. The central word, the word within all three circles, is respect, which is really the vision statement of where we want to be with the inclusive classroom. All groups showing appropriate respect for each other. The role of the teacher is to plan for this, to plan for inclusion and plan for appropriate differentiation, to provide suitable assessments and good challenges for all of the students, and to find ways of providing appropriate praise and encouraging the ability of all of the students. The teacher's interactions with the other two groups are with the student with dyscalculia to support them through providing appropriate assessments, to provide an opportunity for them to show their talents, and to facilitate a safe environment where they are welcome, willing and able to contribute, and to provide them with appropriate praise. For the other students in the classroom, the teacher has to ensure that they provide challenging learning opportunities for them, but also to foster an environment of peer collaboration. So this next part of the diagram, the interlinking area between the students in the classroom with the students with the learning difficulty, is crucial. It's an important thing for the teacher to facilitate, even though they're in the opposite circle, that they're going to be monitoring the way that the students interact to make sure that that's a positive, inclusive, mentoring relationship where the regular students are aware of the need for different speeds of learning, and the students with the learning difficulty are willing to give it a go to find their own limits and to work with their peers to find their own strengths. Dyslexia and dyscalculia, students are impacted by social isolation, which leads to reduced self-esteem and self-efficacy. The importance of a fourth group comes in here, the community, in particular the parents of the students with SLDs, to support them and show an understanding for them in handling their learning difficulties. So what can the community do? The community, in particular the parents, provide the moral basis for the treatment of all of the members of the community. So a greater tolerance and understanding of differences can improve self-esteem and self-efficacy for these students, allowing the ability of all of the students to benefit our community. The right-hand side of the poster has some advice for teachers to use in the classroom. Noting that thinking speeds for these students will be slower doesn't mean that they do not have the ability to carry out arithmetic problem solving. It just does mean that it will take them more time and more effort. Studies have shown that processing speed and accuracy improves with practice, though. It may be appropriate to allow more time for assessments, aiming to avoid symbolic representation, and if possible, find different ways of assessing their ability. For instance, you may be able to use realia to form geometric shapes, or origami, or even musical rhythms to cover such concepts as patterns, ratios, and fractions. It's also important with the assessments that you aim to avoid tasks that require counting or application of abstract concepts. Lastly, right down the bottom right of the poster, there's some information on where to go to for further help. There are some companies in Perth that do support students with specific learning difficulties in particular dyscalculia and dyslexia, and they've trained their tutors to work with those students. Thanks for listening to my presentation, and also thanks to all of those who have already presented. I found all of your works to be very informative.